Do not settle for the crumbs. You should have the whole cake, the icing, and the cherry on top too.
We're back. The Crumbs, episode 18. Jordan in the studio. How's your week been?
Oh, lovely. It's good to be back. I've missed the Crumbs, but I've had a good week. Nothing too busy, just a bit of uni work, but
Yeah.
it is what it is. But yeah, it's good to be back.
Good work. You will be excited, like me, that we've got our very own favourite co-host, all the way from Vegas town. Caro is in the house. How are you, Caro?
I'm so good, so good. I know you guys have missed me a lot, but I'm here. And yeah, I'm sure everyone's glad to hear my voice again. Even Jordan.
Okay, let's move on.
We've been excited to welcome you back, Caro. We've missed having you in the studio, but we're excited because you've been pretty heavily involved in some women's sport. And before we kick off the episode today, you were at the professional women's volleyball game that was held in Henderson in Vegas, or just outside of Vegas, last week. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Not many people watching or listening to the Crumbs would know much about professional women's hockey.
It's crazy. It was like I'd never seen a volleyball game in my life professionally, and I loved it. And it was so American sports, we know this is on a whole nother level, but like there wasn't like a huge crowd there, but there was such a good atmosphere, and they had all the lights and the music, and the people of Vegas love the thrill. I realized that very quickly. Like they were getting around them. So I really enjoyed it. Would highly recommend, if you're ever in a place where there is a professional women's volleyball game, go check it out because it is some good watching. I will say that. And I got a free bobblehead of a player.
Bobblehead night's the best. You need to give background, and particularly to Jenny, because Jenny will ask this question. Who are the Thrill and who are they playing?
The Thrill are the Vegas volleyball team.
Yep. And who were they playing?
Team. And they were playing the San Diego. Oh, this is going to test me. It's bad. I've had a mental blank. The San Diego team.
Team's a good name for a team, isn't it, Jordan?
Yeah, it's very self-explanatory, that. So
I hope ChatGPT didn't help with that one. All right, well, professional women's volleyball, little bit disappointing for our social followers that have just gone through the roof, by the way, Caro, while you've been gone. No thanks to you, of course, but you could have posted some content. And
I'm still logged out.
There's always an excuse with you, isn't it? There's always something. Let's kick on. We do miss you, Caro. We do. We're going to kick on. We're close to home, Caro, and I'm not sure if you've been following this. Jordan and I have. We don't have the in-depth background on the WNBL or basketball that Dav has. Dav's not in today. But this is big news. The WNBL have just signed a new 4-year CBA agreement, so a collective bargaining agreement. The WNBL, the Australian Basketball Players Association, and it's massive. So this has just happened over the last week. And for those who are listening and watching, this is the longest running elite women's sporting competition in this country. So this is a big deal. I mean, the WNBL have had their struggles, their challenges over recent years. And we talked last week with Steve about new ownership, a different direction, and potentially, you know, a lot of great things to happen for the WNBL. But this is a really long-standing competition. So for something like this to take place, and a lot of the players have come out, Tess Madgen has quoted, Jade Melbourne was quoted, they've been sort of talking to the players about this, and it is a big deal because a lot of these players have basically been playing in this league in Australia when they're not overseas, or for the ones who can't get contracts, Caro, overseas, they're sort of playing in the WNBL, and it's basically almost for free. You know, the top players might have been paid $20,000, $30,000 max, but a lot of the players were playing for less than that. So it's a 104% increase over the next 4 years in salary. So at the moment, the current minimum wage, $23,000. It's I know it's hard to read for those watching on the screen, but that'll increase. That'll just over double over the next 4 years. So by 28-29 season, it'll be 46 and a little bit K. And there's also some other things within that CBA, Caro, that it's better conditions for the players, health and well-being. They'll have more career support, personal development support, and some player insurance too. So players who do lose contracts or aren't re-signed, there'll be an element there of security for them beyond the league. So it's a big deal. And I know you've been following another story in this, but I don't know if you want to provide your comments, but you can also comment on other areas of the WNBL as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, going on the CBA, I've said this for a while that the WNBL was kind of a failing league and something needed to change if it was to not even just survive, but like start to thrive again. I mean, we see the rise of women's basketball in America here. It's crazy. And it was like we're kind of waiting for the WNBL to kind of pick up. So I think this is a really good step in the right direction. It was one that needed to happen. We kind of couldn't wait another season where we're on the brink of like just a league that wasn't exactly, improving or moving up. So I'm excited for that, and I'm excited for the players because for a while they have deserved a lot better than what they've been given. But another side of the WNBL at the moment is the Adelaide Lightning are kind of on the brink of a collapse, which is obviously we just like hate every time we see one of these WNBL teams come out with that. And I know for like many seasons the ownership has changed throughout Adelaide in like the last 10 years. They've had multiple owners, and so I hope we don't see them go under. I think that it'll be another, we've got this CBA which is getting our league in the step in the right direction, but if we lose a team then it's just one of those things where it's like you just hate to see it. So I mean, I don't know what the recent update with that is, if they've got any investors looking at them or if they will collapse and they'll get another team.
I was reading an article, sorry to cut you off, Caro. I was reading an article just last night that was talking about the government stepping in. So, and another fact that the listeners might not know is that team is one of the most successful, if not the most successful Adelaide-based sporting teams, and I say sporting teams, and we love to talk sport. I mean, it's a women's sport pod, but the reality is we love to talk sport, and we're just focusing on the amazing female version of the athletes rather than the men, but they're a significant organisation for South Australia and for Adelaide. Yeah. So I can understand that things are tough at the moment financially in Australia, but I think the government sees the importance of keeping that franchise going. And so the word on the street at the moment, Caro, and we'll follow this story a little bit more closely over the next couple of weeks, but it looks like the government are going to step in and save them, which is really positive news for the league. But great wrap, and great to hear more about that. We're moving to North America now, and this is one of my favourite topics, and I know I probably bore the listeners and I bore you guys to tears a little bit with this, but the Professional Women's Hockey League, and for Jenny, it is the ice hockey. It's not field hockey, it's ice hockey.
Can I interject for a second? That's been like one of the biggest culture shocks here, is when people talk about hockey here, I automatically think they're talking about field hockey.
Yep.
Forgetting that like ice hockey is their hockey.
Yep. And if you mentioned hockey over there, the first thing they'd think is ice hockey, the opposite.
Yeah, exactly.
And we followed the takeover tour. So the Professional Women's Hockey League, they ran their takeover tour. It started at the start of 2025. And it was an amazing opportunity to take the teams to various locations across the US and across Canada, basically to test the waters. Where are potential fans are going to go and turn up and buy tickets to this? Who is going to go? They were looking for 2 teams, and we knew that the takeover tour was great because you get to obviously expand the network, grow the game, grow the following, but also they were testing the waters, right? We probably knew Vancouver was going to be one of the teams. So they've made the announcement a couple of weeks ago. Vancouver's in, or it might have been last week. Vancouver's in for sure. and it was not really a surprise. Now, what happened when this announcement came out was that the league accidentally shared 2 logos. They accidentally shared Seattle's as well. They weren't meant to. Now, they quickly deleted it, but not before all the fans, like, you know, the diehards who've got the subscribe thing, favourites, whatever it is on Instagram, they all saw it. So it was too late, and then we all knew that, and the news broke 48 hours ago that Seattle was going to be the second team. Now, it is big news. So these 2 teams, the league's currently got 6 teams. It'll move to 8 in the 2025-26 season, which is pretty massive. The playoffs, that's all happening right now for the 24-25 season. But 8 teams. Vancouver had the highest attendance. We know 19,038 people turned up to that. It was a sellout within minutes. Vancouver's obviously a big Canadian location, and the fans want a women's team. There's no denying it, and the league knows that. The sponsors know that. Commercially, it's really viable. I've been following it, I obviously follow those teams already on socials, and they're selling memberships, they're selling tickets, you know, season tickets, etc. It's going to be massive. And then Seattle, we know it's only about a 2.5-hour flight. They had 12,600, which wasn't the highest in the US, but it was one of the highest. And from a location point of view, like we've talked about Climate Pledge Arena being ready-built, the Seattle Kraken play there in the NHL. So they've already got a location. They've already been talking about it. And this is pretty massive news and pretty exciting. Have you heard anything about this across sort of your channels in the US, Caro?
Not really, which is kind of surprising. But I think at the moment here in Vegas, everyone's tuned into the Golden Knights because they're in the playoffs and they just made it to, I think, the final. So I think everyone's attention's kind of been a bit, because I haven't actually personally heard about it through my classes here, my sport classes, but obviously on social media I've seen it. But
yeah,
it's exciting. It's so exciting because seeing how much people love ice hockey over here, even just the Golden Knights here in Vegas, the city loves them and everyone gets around them. So I love seeing that the Women's League is now expanding and hopefully one day will be at the same kind of exposure with the whole city behind them.
Yeah, awesome. All right, moving on, and Jordan's going to take the mic, and we're talking women's football.
There's no need for that, Caro. Seriously, no need. I was going to talk about our Australians in Europe. So just as recently as last week in the WSL, which is the English Premier League for women, Chelsea became the champions, and they did that for the 6th season in a row, which is absolutely dominant.
Imagine they had Sam Kerr.
I know. I think they've drawn 2 games and lost none over the whole season. So with Sam Kerr, that could be a perfect record. They've beaten teams like Arsenal, Manchester City and Manchester United, who are the remaining top 4 teams. They've beaten them twice over the season, which 2 out of 2 games against all those teams. The new coach, Sonia Bompasta, who's taken Emma Hayes' role as the coach over the last many years, she called it unbelievable, and that's exactly what it is, because to see such a dominant force in such a high, prolific league, it's not something you see very often. So hats off to Chelsea. I hate to say it because obviously I am an Arsenal fan, but they've done pretty amazingly this season, and that, credit to them, absolutely. Just a recap of the season and our Australians over there. We had some really good performers over the season. I feel like we can't go past this segment without mentioning Mary Fowler, an absolute gem to the sport. All Australians know her, all Australians love her. She was absolutely dominating the league with 13 goal involvements in 17 games, which is ridiculous numbers, unfortunately before her devastating ACL injury, which almost has taken Manchester City out of contention for Champions League next season. So it'll obviously be disappointing for her not to play in that league, and disappointing for the team as well to have such a star be injured like that, and disappointing for all of us Australians to see such talent go down like that.
For football fans too.
Everyone.
Everyone. You want to see the best out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Mary Fowler, she is one of the best. That goes without saying. So, prayers to her and her injury. We hope she gets a healthy, quick recovery, and we're going to miss seeing you play. Other mentions include Katrina Gorey, who's the captain of West Ham over there. She's got 3 goals and 3 assists as a midfielder over 20 games. So she's, a very consistent force in that midfield and provides a lot to that West Ham team. Claire Wheeler as well. She captains Everton. She's got 1 assist over 17 league games, but she's more of a defensive midfielder, and she's been putting in really solid performances over there. Ellie Carpenter playing in the French league with Lyon. She's been playing really well, keeping 12 clean sheets and 6 goal involvements in 25 games across all the leagues, which is really good as a defender, and we can see that when she plays for us, the Tillies as well. We can see that talent, but unfortunately for Ellie Carpenter and her team Lyon, she's been kicked out of the Champions League, and that'll be by yours truly, Arsenal. Big win in the second leg of that tie. So Lyon took the lead 2-1 in the first game at our home ground, actually. And we went over to France and completely dominated them. Caitlin Ford put in a great performance. She kicked the sealer. Steph Catley as well, absolute defensive beast. And even Caro Cooney-Cross came on for a good performance off the bench, which is really exciting because to see our 3 Aussie girls in the Champions League final is a great sign to see. And we really wish them the best against Barcelona on the 25th of May. So I know I'll be watching that one.
Isn't it cool too when teams go and win away?
Oh, absolutely.
Like
Absolutely.
it's such a cool thing in even if you don't follow the sport, if another team or club or organisation goes away and has to beat them on their away, there's something about that that's really cool in itself.
And the French league is very passionate, extremely passionate. So to go to France to play against Lyon, who's been such a dominant force for as long as they've been playing, essentially, and beat them 4-1 on their home deck is ridiculous. With that being said, there's some downsides to Australian sports involvement, and one of those has been the disappointing downfall of Hayley Raso and her involvement in the Tottenham team. She'd been playing well. She had been playing well. She came over, and in her first season, she got just the 1 goal from 13 league games, but she was playing a consistent role as a winger there. She last played on the 23rd of March, but she hasn't reported any injuries. And some are saying that suggested to sort of a downfall between her and the team. They've suggested that she's been unhappy with the on-field results, which is understandable because they are 10th currently out of a 12-team league, and they had a brief relegation battle, which is completely, out of the waters for Tottenham. Like, they're supposed to be a very good team. They finished, I believe it was 6th last season, and signed some key players like Raso to sort of boost them into that Champions League contention. But just like Raso, it is disappointing to see Tottenham finish so low, and not to say that it's fair enough to have these issues on the field, but for having such talent like Raso does to play for a team that isn't quite up to standard to what they wanted to be at this level of the season, it's sort of understandable. But we have missed seeing her play, and it'd be good to see her get back either to Tottenham to sort of cement her spot there and be happy with the way she's playing, or move to another club. And as long as she's on the field, we're happy. So
yeah, 100%. Yep, great recap, and just so cool to hear. Like it's growing over there, women's football, and it's become such a big part of football across Europe, not just in England but across Europe. Great to hear how well they're doing. Before we move on, I just want to talk about Aussie women in the Women's National Soccer League in the US. But a shout out to one of our followers, and she's telling me she's trying to take the mantle as number 1. I'm not sure she'll take over from Jenny, but Kira Johnston, if you're listening, the Tillies are playing at Marvel Stadium on Friday the 30th of May. I will not be there because I will be at the Holmes Glen Awards night cheering on you as a higher education student of the year finalist. You're welcome. That's how important you are to me. I just wanted to put that out to our viewers to know how committed I am to my students, and to our supporters, Caro. We care about our people here at the Crumbs, so we're all getting behind Kira. But yeah, we'll get behind the Tillies. I'll probably have my phone under the table, and Kira will be talking to me, and I won't be listening. No, I won't do that to you, Kira. Anyway, I digress. National Women's Soccer League in the US, and I've put the table up. This is hard to read, but if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening, you will know that Alana Kennedy moved from England to go to Angel City, one of the biggest clubs in the league in the US. They have not been playing well, it's fair to say, and they're 9th on the table. So I've got the top 10 teams up here. They're 9th. There's 14 teams in the league. All 14 didn't fit on my slideshow. I can say Portland are sitting 6th, so they're not having the best season yet either, but that's sort of where our players lie at the moment. Alana Kennedy's played 6 of 7 games for Angel City. She has been playing okay, and she's come good in particular the last couple of games. She's sort of found a little bit more form. Mackenzie Arnold is captaining the Portland Thorns and playing alongside Caitlin Torpey, obviously 2 of our favourites from the Tillies as well. Obviously, Mackenzie Arnold, she's played 5 of 17 games. She's had 17 saves for the Thorns, but she's obviously been suffering from an injury recently. Obviously, the Tillies were out here and she had to miss for the Tillies due to injury. Caitlin Torpey's played 6 games though and is doing okay for the Thorns. I think the Thorns have started to play a little better. They started the season poorly. There are 2 other players, so there's 5 who are contracted at the moment. Courtney Vine and Charlotte McLean have not played for North Carolina Courage yet. But I thought this was an interesting fact that you might find kind of cool, guys, that the Portland Thorns have actually had the most Aussies historically play in the National Women's Soccer League. So they've had Ellie Carpenter, Steph Catley, Caitlin Ford, Claire Polkinghorn, who you just talking about, Hayley Rasso, Ashley Sykes, and obviously Caitlin Torpey and Mackenzie Arnold. So there's been a lot of players, and we should do a segment on this, Jordan. There's been so many Aussies play in that league over such a long period of time and play at like multiple clubs.
Yeah.
You know, these days it's like everyone moves sort of everywhere. Maybe less so somewhere like Sam Kerr, who's been at Chelsea for a long time. But back in the day, there were players moving everywhere every second season. So it'd be really cool to look at a history of that. But I just found that interesting when I was reading about the history of really the Matildas players who've been playing at different clubs. And Portland Thorns has been the most popular for Aussies. So hopefully, and obviously as well as that, Alana Kennedy's the first Aussie to play for Angel City, one of the biggest franchises in the world now. We'll move on, Caro. I know this is one that you want to talk about, and that we're going to go into more detail next week because the WNBA season is not far away. The preseason kicks off tomorrow. So it kicks off on the 2nd. Well, it's the 2nd here, but it's not yet for you, Caro. It's the 2nd tomorrow for you.
No.
And for the first time ever, this is awesome, the full preseason, every game will be broadcast. We will get to watch all of those games. Amazing. And I think it's even better for the league that this is happening because there's already so much talk about what's going to happen this season. We've come off March Madness. You know, the NBA draft was like 5 minutes later. It's like it's like Paige got in a limo and went from the court to the draft, put a Dallas hat on.
And is now playing.
And was like, it was hectic. And ever since, it's all we've been talking about. I want you to sort of take the lead on this, Caro, but what I will say is we have talked on this show before about how intense and crazy the WNBA camps are. Like the camps are pre-season where players are fighting for roster spots. And on the screen I've got a graphic that says more than 6 WNBA teams worth of players will actually not make a roster. And unfortunately for us Aussie fans, someone we were really, really cheering for, Annalee Maley, 3x3 Aussie rep at the Paris Games in 2024. She will not be playing for the Sparks. The Sparks announced about 2 hours before this show that she would no longer be on she wouldn't make their roster. So we're really disappointed for her, but we'll be following what she does next, and I'm not sure if she'll be coming back to Perth or where she's headed now, but big support for you, Annalee, and you've had a great couple of years back on the court after everything that's happened. So we're following your progress and we're rooting for you. But Caro, talk to us about what's happening, the excitement, and you're going to be covering an Aces game at some point yourself.
Yes, no, there's a lot of excitement over here, obviously, and it's like crazy because like I will walk into one of my classes and like the whole class is talking about like the WNBA, and like 3 years ago that just would not have been a thing. So it's just so awesome to see, and I think with the broadcast of all the preseason games, it takes me back to like 2 seasons ago. I remember like having to like literally move mountains and search the most randomest things just to get a score from a preseason game because like they just weren't anywhere. They were behind, like just the difference and just how far we've come. I mean, we say it all the time, but it's just crazy. But yeah, no, it's exciting. And I think I do have a close eye on all our Australians. Obviously, was hoping for a bit longer for Annalee, but I'm hoping Shanice Swain, also at the LA Sparks, holds out a bit longer.
Yeah,
And
Jordan
makes
and
that
I
final
were
roster.
sorry, Caro. Jordan and I were just talking about her, and this is a really good story. And he was sort of asking me, didn't she get drafted in 2023? And she did. She was the 14th pick in the draft in 2023 and made the decision not to agree to go into the WNBA or put herself in a position to trial basically for a roster spot because she didn't feel like she was ready for that. And she's spoken pretty openly in interviews and articles about that situation. And when I was in a press conference when her and Annalee got introduced to the media, and, you know, she said, like, I feel like I'm ready now. I feel like I had to do a few things personally to develop myself on and off the court, and that now I'm ready to, this is like my time now. I'm ready to do it. So, like, she could really add something. I was talking to their coach, Lynn. They've got a new coach, obviously, after their horrible season last year. And she was saying, like, that she's not there to make up numbers. She's there to add. Like, she's shooting from downtown. Like, I don't know if you guys saw any of her stats or watched any of her highlights from last season's WNBL, but, like, she was lights out. She was one of the top 3 players in the league. So, you know, she'll be a great watch this season. I hope she gets court time, and I obviously hope she gets through that camp and, you know, she's there ready to show what she can do. Sorry to cut you off, Caro.
No, loved that insight. I have a particular eye on our Aussies at the Golden State Valkyries, the new team, Steph Talbot and Chloe Bibby, just because I'm very fascinated by that team just in the first place, because I think with every expansion team, obviously you're starting from literally scratch. There's no core, like you're just a bunch of people that got put together. So I'm hoping they both make the final rosters for that team, because I think just in general, the Golden State Valkyries are going to be so fun to watch. They have Kate Martin, fan favorite. And so yeah, I've got my eye on them. But I think training camp, as we say, it's so brutal. And with your stat of like the 6 WNBA team worth of players, yeah, it's like something like 72 players, I think, won't make roster that are currently on some of the training camp squads. And we keep saying like expansion's the solution to this just kind of insane thing that is become a normal thing, obviously, but we've got one extra team this year and we've got Toronto coming in soon. But yeah, just keeping up with all the training camp waves and everything, it's just that chaotic time of year. And I know we're doing a full preview next week, but I'm calling it Indiana are going to win, and it's not going to be because of Caitlin Clark. It's going to be a team-based win. They're going to come together as a team, and because I'm really loving what I'm seeing with their training camp. Like, I've been seeing a few videos and obviously some of their signings they made in the off season, and I'm loving what's brewing in Indiana. And it's not just because of Caitlin Clark. I'm going to just say that.
Which other teams are you following on socials? Are you not seeing their camps, or are you what? Tell us about
No,
that.
I'm seeing all the camps. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're a busy lady. There's a lot of camps. That's a lot of time.
There's a lot of camps to keep
track of. Do you do any uni work over there?
I'm trying. It's hard.
Look, we'll take your prediction. Jordan and I have not done enough research to make a a commitment yet.
It's a
My
very big
early
early call.
prediction before I go ahead next week and boldly make a statement, I'm quietly confident that Queen Fee is out for redemption. I
Yeah.
mean, she got
No,
redemption.
Minnesota is
She got
also
redemption through Unrivaled, but
Yeah.
I actually went back not long ago and I was watching the last season of the WNBA's playoff series, and man, the Liberty. I don't want to say they got lucky because they won and they did deserve to win, but it was a very, very, very close race. Let's put it that way.
Well, that's my other hot take is that the Liberty won't make.
Yeah.
They might be in the playoffs, but they're not going to be close to the
So
championship at all.
Liberty and Las Vegas, they're just two big ones to watch for me because it's just been this long period of time, and you never know because you can only be at the top for so long, Caro.
Mhm.
You have to. There has to be a point where others sort of. And then here we've got the LA Sparks because, you know, Kelsey Plum is a massive addition, and she's said really publicly, there's an expectation here. I've been brought here for a reason. I'm not here.
Yeah.
I'm not here to hang out at the beach in LA. I mean, I'm sure she will, but that's
Yeah,
not
I mean, I
why
would as
I'm
well.
here. I'm here because we want to be in the playoffs. We want to be playing for a championship. So they got a new coach. You know, I'm assuming new strategy. They got different pieces of the puzzle that are going to come together. So I have high hopes for them. But again, I'm not making bold statements until we do a full WNBA. Next week's show will be a WNBA preview. There'll be big, bold predictions, and we're gonna look at the predicted starting five for each team, and we'll break down sort of who we think is going to end up at the top and who's going to end up at the bottom, and we'll see where we're at.
Yeah. But also some very sad news this week of Georgia Amor. I feel like we should mention that.
I know.
Devastating. Another fallen soldier to the bloody ACL.
Yeah.
I'm about to fight ACLs in a boxing rink.
It's
the time
a
comes.
good
I'm sick of
segue
it.
to my I was going to make another comment. We put something up on socials earlier. So FIFA announced they were going to sponsor I don't know if you two have been reading about this or if you've seen our socials. Caro never follows or likes our socials, Jordan,
do
but
anything.
maybe she will this time. But
I
that FIFA have
do.
sponsored a 12-month project to go and do research on women ACLs in relation to the menstrual cycle and what impact that has. And as soon as I saw it, I forwarded a message to Sophia, Dr. Sophia Nymphius, a great friend of the Crumbs. And I said, check this out. And I quickly got one response to, and she sent me 12 sentences, long sentences saying, you know, and I'm sure she wouldn't mind me saying this, but just saying, look, it's just so easy for people to read this headline and think that this is all correct and legitimate. And the reality is, how in 12 months is anyone collating research to the level you need to make any actual,
Yep.
you know,
Yeah.
ground on this? So, you know, it's an interesting situation because we encourage and we love to see when people get behind research and want to go out and investigate and learn more to, you know, particularly on this show, we talk all the time about how we don't get to see our favourite athletes.
Yeah.
Because they've all got ACLs.
Yeah.
And it's horrible, but, you know, the fact is, and if you go to our socials and have a look at it, you know, the epidemic, they're calling it an epidemic, and the more I read and the more I listen to Sophia talk about it, it's not an epidemic of ACLs. It's an epidemic that we've never talked about it. And suddenly women's sport's more popular and we know people's name, and so it has meaning.
Yeah.
And as horrible and cutthroat as that sounds, it's real and it's true. And until she talked to me about that, I was like most people. And I saw something online and went, that's horrible. Women must always do their ACLs. And they're doing a lot of them. But that doesn't mean there's an epidemic in women doing ACLs. And yeah, there's a lot of other parts to it that aren't true. So I encourage everybody to go online and do their own research and jump on and look at the research that Dr. Sophia Nymphius is doing and the project they're working on over at Edith Cowan University. It's amazing. And we follow along. Any other news to wrap up, guys, for this episode? Jordan?
no news that I know. I'm just excited, very excited for the WNBA coming up in a couple of weeks. All those preseason camps. I think I'm in tune this year more than I have been any other year, which is really exciting. And I just can't wait to start to watch more games than I have been in the past. I think some of the new rookies of the recent years, the Angel Reeses, Caitlin Clarks, Paige Beckers, they're gonna really showcase what WNBA really is about, and not to mention all the veterans as well who have done it for years and years and years. And I think they're taking so many steps in the right direction in terms of viewership, in terms of the wages and the expansion and everything that they're doing. And yeah, I'm really excited to get into it straight away.
Awesome. Caro?
Any news? I got a haircut. Is that deemed newsworthy?
We might put a poll up on our socials and we'll gather some feedback from our followers that have increased quite substantially, I will say. And I will say thank you to everybody who is following our Instagram. We do appreciate that some of you are interested in some of the things we talk about. I know not all of it, but you jumping on and supporting it is great, and it gets us back in here every Friday, and we love talking women's sport. We'll poll during the week, Caro, and let you know. I did want to throw one more thing out before we leave, and I mentioned this in 2024. The Crumbs needs a sponsor, and the Crumbs needs a sponsor that is related to Crumbs in some way. Now, this is a call out. It's a shout out to our viewers. We need you to link us up with a bakery, a cafe that has baked goods,
Pizza joint?
bread company, oh God, that'll be good. Imagine Friday afternoons with a pizza.
Oh, goodness.
We need a pizza shop. Someone needs to get behind us, and our sponsorship package is really simple. We'll put your logo everywhere, and you just deliver a free pizza. No, we'll pick it up, actually. We're looking for a partner here, and before 2025 is out, that is my life goal is to find one, Caro.
To find a bakery?
I'm going to need some help.
When I get back, we should just do like a cafe crawl and just like jump from cafe to cafe
We'll
one
just
day.
walk the streets with signs and let's do that.
Leave some crumbs.
We'll do that. Let's do that.
Wow.
Yeah, thanks, Caro.
How long did that one take?
It's just in my head straight away.
Okay.
All right, guys, it's been a blast as always. Already looking forward to next week. WNBA, I'm super excited about it. We're going to break it down and have a bit of fun with it. We miss you, Caro. Jordan doesn't. I do. But until next week.
I don't miss Jordan either. So
until next week, we will enjoy Vegas, and we'll see you then.
Enjoy.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.